I mean, that's why I love Chick-fil-A stands, right?
Yes.
We're going to take a day off and we're going to see the Lord provide. And like they were literally earning more than like McDonald's and other like places that worked 7 days a week.
Right. Dang.
With only 6 days of work.
That's a good example. That's why
Delicious
they say it's the
too.
Lord Church. Yeah, that's why they say it's the Lord
It's anointed.
Hey guys, welcome back to our Vibes Daily podcast where we are in a series titled Devoted. We've been reading the Bible all year from cover to cover, and you have joined us in the book of Jeremiah. Today we'll be doing chapters 17 through 20, and I'm here with my girl Victoria.
Hey.
Yes, we've been rocking together all week.
Yeah.
Man, this is our last reading of the week in Jeremiah. It's been so good.
So good.
And it just keeps getting better. And so, yeah, we get to pick up today on chapter 17. And there was a lot of good nuggets in here.
Ooh.
A lot. I have so many things highlighted that I can't wait to share. But yeah, is there anything in this chapter that stuck out to you?
I'm trying not to skip too much.
Okay.
All right. Like, I'm gonna have to skip. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna skip to what's getting good to me.
Go ahead.
Because it just starts at verse 5 for me.
Yep. I'm glad you went there.
Is that where you was at? Okay. It starts at verse 5 because we got blessings and curses happening. So curse is the person who trusts in mankind. I'm like, how easy is it to do that? To trust in like this tutor who's gonna help me pass the test, to trust in like our army to go and defeat whoever, like to trust in, my husband to bring the finances, like whatever, like no, but and who makes human flesh his strength, right? And so curses that person, but then verse 7, the contrast is the person who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence indeed is in the Lord, is blessed.
Yes.
And then we go into this familiar text, right?
Yeah.
He will be like a tree planted by water. It sends its roots out toward a stream. It doesn't fear when heat comes, and its foliage remains green. It will not worry in a year of drought or cease producing fruit. So like even in this drought and in the heat, all of that, like its source comes from underneath, right?
Yes.
Where it's rooted in the Lord, right? With getting all the nutrients that it still needs.
No, I love that. Like this was the verses I wanted to go to, honestly, because it was just so, like you said, to see that contrast. And I drew me a little picture. I drew me a picture of a tree.
You do have a picture.
The tree has fruit on it.
She's not lying. It's really good.
I have the roots going through.
You can draw.
And then you have, no.
I'm sorry, she can draw.
And I have this water. And for me, this visual of what God is saying is that like, there's always going to be nourishment and fruit that is bearing in this this water that never runs dry, right? Like, because I'm the living water, man.
Yeah.
I'm the source in which you can find your growth and all of your nutrients and all the things that you're thirsting and hungering for. Like, it's in me. And yeah, I love that he just pointed that out, because it just emphasizes like that's who he is, and it's planted. Like, this tree is literally planted, meaning it can't be moved.
Right. It can't go anywhere.
It can't. It's so deeply rooted that it can't be shaken. And this again is a blessing that for those who trust in him and have confidence in him, like, this is how they are. And man, I feel like that's just encouraging for me, because it does let me know that like, okay, when disasters come, when famines come, when the money runs out of the bank account, when, like I'm worrying about, what am I going to eat or where or whatever the case may be, like because I'm tapped into the source.
Yeah. And I love that you drew the picture because now it has, like, now I'm thinking, like, okay, there's 2 trees side by side, right? One tree just has its roots in the ground and is relying on the rain.
Yep.
And the other tree is rooted in the ground. And like you said, its roots are going towards the source, the stream, right? And because it's like, you know, we all know like precipitation, condensation, right? So like it's coming from the stream into the clouds and it comes back down and all that stuff, right? We went to science and
come on,
right?
Come on.
But it does all that. So it's like it's coming from the stream anyways, right? And so the Lord is the source, but it's just like, listen, we're relying on these other things.
Yeah.
When those things don't come, we gonna be dead in Jerusalem, right?
Yeah.
And thirsty.
Literally.
And starving. And like you said, anxious and worried. It says, do not worry, right? This is given like Philippians, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So like they're gonna be worried when it's not rain. Where the rain? But the one who's tapping into the source is like, we drinking.
Yeah.
We nourished. What you talking about?
Man, you brought in, next time you're at my house, I'm gonna have to show you. Because your analogy reminded me of, I have these 2 plants. One of them is in soil and it's the same plant. And then one of them, it's called something. And so for all my plants people, you know what I'm talking about. But you can, if you want to grow more of a plant, you take a piece of it out and it has the roots and then you let it sit in water.
Water, yeah.
And the water, it continues to grow even more roots. And then the goal is to eventually to replant it somewhere. But my roots from that plant, like the plant has never turned brown or like yellow or anything. And it's sitting in a vase of water. And it's been like this for months. And like the roots just continue to grow.
Wow.
And they're long now.
That's the growth.
And so I do love that, again, God pointed out, like, yeah, like this tree is going to bear fruit, like, because of that source.
And the other one, you got to keep watering.
You got to keep watering. You got the soil keeps getting dry and you got to keep, and if I wait too long to water, if I forgot about it, oh man, I don't remember.
Limp.
It's limp.
It be limp.
Limp.
It be like,
yes. Now,
Mika.
Right, one of the leaves and shriveled up and fell off, and now, you know, it's not producing fruit, and now it's all those things. So
yeah, that's so good.
Yeah,
and then even in verse 11, it takes me to is this like, he who makes a fortune unjustly, that's the unjustly part, is like a partridge that hatch eggs it didn't lay. In the middle of his life, his riches will abandon him, so in the end he will be a fool. And it's crazy because, you know, we're always trying to figure out and scheme and get over and, you know, trying to figure out how we can level up, you know, and you know, cut a corner here too or nobody.
Right.
But like stuff like this is just like, you can't tell me there's no like scripture against certain things.
No, for
right?
real.
Because somebody was like, there's nothing in the Bible that says I can't just, you know.
Cut a little corner or two.
Jeremiah chapter 7 verse 11.
Yeah, it'd be wild to see like how the Lord uses certain animals that I would even think, I'm like, what if you done pulled this creature out and you was like, okay, let me use them as an example.
Right, we talking about ostriches.
Right, it'd be the ostriches. Yep.
The ostrich, right? I was like, where did homegirl come from? Anyway,
for real. No, but I do love that. Like, super good. That again, like, he sees everything and there's a consequence for what we do. And there is a verse 13 and honestly, it's like verses, 13 through 18. I highlighted so many different things. I do love that there is this constant reminder of like, Lord, like in verse 13 it says, Lord, you are the hope of Israel.
Yeah.
And like, just Jeremiah just dropping in these little nuggets here and there, I often see of him, like, he knows who God is. Like, he's fully aware, like, of who he is. And this prayer was just so pure in 14. Heal me, Lord, and I'll be healed. Save me, and I'll be saved. For you are the one I praise. And I'm like, this is giving Psalms.
Yeah.
Like, they keep saying to me, where's the word of the Lord? Let it now be fulfilled. And I'm just like, man, like, I was definitely seeing that, like, it reminded me of David, just how he was just so good at saying who God was to him and like speaking the truth. And, 17, you are my refuge in the day of disaster. Yes. And then he got to tell God to get the enemies.
Come on.
Let my persecutors be put to shame, but keep me from shame. And I was like, yeah, this reminds me a lot of David and Psalms and how, this is Jeremiah's heart. And to that point, it's like, man, yeah, nothing much has changed. Like the enemies out here still enemying.
Yep.
And they still doing stuff towards God's like anointed and chosen people.
Right, exactly. And it's so funny because in verse 16, it's like, I have not run away from being your shepherd, right? And I'm looking at this, especially specifically 14 through 18, and with this praise that he's given the Lord and this dedication to like his calling, it does remind me of how like earlier in chapters where like he was had to repent because the Lord was like, fix your mouth and fix your face. Okay? Yes. Because I didn't tell you to speak like that. And I feel like he got it all the way together. Yeah. Like, I feel like this is proof that like, okay, and I don't know if this is, sequential or not, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like he has a new attitude.
Yeah, because now we're hearing more praises for real. And more, just that reminder of who God is. Mm-hmm. No, that's good. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah. Are you gonna go to Sabbaths?
Yep. I was gonna go to honestly, I was shocked that this came up in this because seemingly you would think that it's just like a random way to just throw in the Sabbath.
Right.
Because we've been focusing a lot on, God's wrath and like, but I was like, oh no, God still is not playing about this Sabbath.
He's not. Because like you said, it's interesting because he keeps on saying they have not obeyed my commands. And when he comes down to naming them, here we have a whole section on Sabbath. Ooh. Don't act like I haven't told you about my Sabbath.
Yep.
Sabbath was at creation. And then I taught it again at Moses.
Yep.
It's part of the 10 Commandments.
Yep.
Like after honoring me and not having any items, it's like keep the Sabbath.
Yep.
Like it's there. And so he told him to go to the people's gates. Like, let's go to the city's gates. Okay, where all these foreign people come in and out your gates. We all do all this trading and bartering and stuff. Go to the gates where all the folk working on Saturday. Go on the Sabbath too. I don't know if he's. Oh yeah, he does. But he says, to tell him like, listen. Watch yourselves. Don't pick up any load or bring into Jerusalem's gates on the Sabbath day. This is 21, 22. Do not carry a load out of your houses on the Sabbath day or do any work, but keep the Sabbath day holy just like I commanded your ancestors. They wouldn't listen or pay attention, but became obstinate, not listening or accepting discipline. So, however, if you listen, once again, the however, right? He's so gracious. And do not bring loads in the city on the seventh day, but keep the Sabbath day holy and do not work on it. Kings and princes will enter the gates of this city. They will sit on the throne of David. They will ride in chariots and on horses with their officials. Men of Judah, the residents of Jerusalem. The city will be inhabited forever. Like, is it not clear? Right?
No, for real.
Like, is it not clear? But y'all still trading. And this reminded me of, and they were still doing it because I think this is also why, Ezra and Nehemiah, when we were reading those books, right? And I forget which one it was. I think it was Nehemiah. It was Nehemiah who, towards the end, kind of like went to like the people and was snatching out people's beards at the end of his book and doing all this stuff because he was like, y'all working on the Sabbath.
Yes.
Y'all still cutting up. This is what we got exiled about. So this is Jeremiah telling them before the exile. Get it together.
Wow.
Stop defiling the Sabbath.
Wow.
And then they get exiled. They get brought back. They're building up the walls. They're building the temple, all this stuff. And Nehemiah sees them again, cutting up. And he like, I done told y'all.
Didn't learn. Literally. Yeah. It again, it's still so important.
Yeah.
And then if you think about it too, because I love that in, I guess maybe Deuteronomy or Leviticus, one of the books, where it talked about how you resting actually gives you that moment of trusting God.
Yes.
Because you're not trying to, make money or do whatever to provide for your home. He's like, watch me be the Lord and watch me actually provide for you.
Watch me do it. I mean, that's why I love Chick-fil-A stamps, right?
Yes.
We're going to take a day off and we're going to see the Lord provide. And like, they were literally earning more than like McDonald's and other like places that worked 7 days a week.
Right. Dang.
With only 6 days of work.
That's a good example. That's why
Delicious
they say it's the
too.
Lord Church. Yeah, that's why they say it's the Lord
It's anointed.
No, for real.
But that's why also that they went into exile, right, for the 70 years, because it was to let the land rest. Because he was like, you defiled my land. My land hasn't been able to rest all these Sabbaths. Now my land will be able to rest when y'all get out of here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, it really is.
That it matters so much.
Yes. And I was puckering up my ears because like me and my household, we've been doing a good job of being intentional about honoring the Sabbath.
Yeah.
But there's still those times in me where I'm just like, ooh, the sun's out.
Yeah.
Let me go and whatever, or let me catch up on this work or whatever. And it's like, for me, it was that reminder of like, no, it can wait. You can rest. Honor it.
Yep.
Like he doesn't put these things in the Bible for no reason. Right. And if it didn't matter, he wouldn't continue to talk about it. So
repeat himself.
Yep, repeat. And so I thought that was just a good refresher and reminder. And I don't think that we should consider this as like, oh, this is just an Old Testament thing. No.
Yep.
It's something that he is requiring of us even today. And so, yeah.
Yep. I love it.
Well, we got this potter's house. I just love these tangible analogies that God has given Jeremiah. All right, go ahead and go get this pot. This or go down to the potter's house and all that. So yeah, what was something that stuck out to you in this like analogy description or even in the rest of these chapters?
Let me get my Bible together. Yeah, I think it was interesting. That's kind of like, you see what I think he's just putting in perspective, like who you are and who I am. Yeah. Right? Like, you are the pot. I am the potter. Right? You the clay. I'm the creator here. Yep. And it's like, this potter can do whatever he wants with this clay jar. It acts up and it don't do what I asked it to do. Boom. I'm tearing you apart. I'm making something new out of you. And the Lord's like, can I do this to you? Like, right. Yes. Yeah. Like, I'm God. I can do this to you. Yes. I can destroy you and bring up and tear you down and make somebody else come. And I feel like he's done it and said it plenty of times, right? He did it with the flood. For sure. Starting over. He threatened them with Moses and was like, listen, Moses, let me just wipe them all out and I'll make a new nation out of you. Yeah. Listen, because I can't work with these people. For sure. And he pleaded on his behalf, like we mentioned before. And so, like, he's done it before and threatened to do it. And he's like, I'm just going to have to do it again.
Yeah, no, that's real. Yeah. It's just so convicting, man, because it is this, like, good analogy where it's just like, yeah, like, I'm the creator.
I'm creating everything.
I am. And I think there was a time where it's probably in the same passage. I couldn't find it, but where it was like, the clay is broken up and he's like, now these pieces ain't even going, the potter can't put all them pieces together. Like, going to be left destroyed. And like that's the wrath of God because of their disobedience that he's bringing onto them. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's what do you think? And that's 19. Yep, that clay jar that he's supposed to take to in front of the elders or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, 19 verse 1. Yep, exactly.
That is. That's where it was. But before we go into there, I just thought it was interesting, this last passage part where The conspiracy against Jeremiah, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Where it starts in verse 18, like, come, let's make plans against Jeremiah, for the teaching of the law by the priest will not cease, nor will counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. So come, let us attack with our tongues and pay no attention to anything he says. And it's just like, here go Jeremiah, like, listen, Lord, like, here's my accusers. And now he wants them to be taken out. He was like, remember that I stood before you and spoken in their behalf to turn your wrath away from them. So give their children over to the famine. Like, now Jeremiah's like, no, take them.
Listen,
just take them.
I've been trying to plead on y'all behalf. At this point, y'all coming for me, Lord, get them.
Yep.
It's like, Daddy.
Right.
They try and get me.
And it's wild because just the arrogance and for them to be like, for the teaching of the law by the priest will not cease. They not even teaching what the Lord is trying to say.
At all, which is crazy because the Lord is calling them blind and deaf and liars, right? Those prophets and priests. So it is crazy because at this point it's just like there's no mercy. Because they just refuse to be righteous. Yeah.
Let's go into 2019. Yeah, we pointed out the whole thing about like he wanted him to buy the jar from a potter, which he got to see how these things were formed and made, and now he had him buy it and take it before the people and give another word of disaster. But I thought it was interesting in verses 4 through 5. It starts talking about how they're giving their like offerings of incense and stuff to Baal and everything. And it was this one line in verse 5. He was like, they have built the high places of Baal to burn their children in the fire as offerings to Baal. Something I didn't even command or mention, nor did it even cross my mind. Like, it never entered in my mind, like, throw your kids into the fire. And I just thought it was so interesting. He said this a couple of times, but it's just like, just how far from God that they have come to where now they're sacrificing their children. And God's like, it hasn't even come into play. That's not anything near like close to what I would have commanded or desired from y'all to do.
Right. Exactly. It's wild because it's like mine says I never even entertained the thought. Right. But it's interesting though to contrast that with verse 9 though, that although he is not wanting them to sacrifice them as an offering to him, like they are for Baal, he says in verse 9 though that this family is going to be so bad that like he was like, I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters. And they will eat each other's flesh in the distressing siege. Like that, because they are wicked people, when he cuts off their food and stuff, they will go towards eating their children. Now, it's not the desire of his heart.
No.
It's just what they've learned from other nations, right? And
exactly.
Stuff. Yeah. To even think to do stuff like that. Because he's never said, when your food runs out, just eat your kids. Never said the Lord.
He's like, no, like, depend on me. Like, I'll be the provider.
Because remember, once again, that plant we were talking about, right? With the roots of the stream. So when the rain doesn't come and the famine hits, like, no, like those who are for the Lord, we eating.
Yep.
Not our children, though.
We're not going hungry.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
That's really good, though.
Yeah. Well, we end up seeing in 20 Jeremiah's complaint.
Yes.
He going back to... He started off real good, but the last passages, but I just wanted to point out verse 7. You deceived me, Lord, and I was deceived. You overpowered me and prevailed. I'm ridiculed all day long. Like, he's going on about, these people are out for me. I'm just trying to do your work of Lord, and what you've called me to do and what you said. But
but the crazy thing is when I was reading this in verse like 1, this is the priest, Pashur the priest, son of Immer, and chief official in the temple. They heard Jeremiah prophesying, these things. So they had Jeremiah beaten and put into stocks at the upper Benjamin gate in the Lord's temple. So you pretty much turned the temple into a jailhouse.
I didn't even think about that.
Right? And like, these are the priests, and had him beaten and stuff. And then in verse 6, it says, as for you, Pashur, and all who live in your house, you will go into captivity. You will go to Babylon. There you will die, and there you will be buried, you and all your friends whom you prophesied lies. So this is what Jeremiah is saying to them. Okay, right? And so the fact, though, that like this is really, it reminds me of like a Saul, right? Who's getting beaten and locked up, or Peter, right? In the New Testament, who's getting beaten and locked up on behalf. But then it's also reminding me of like, these were not like the evil nations. These are the priests that's supposed to be protecting the people and hearing the word of the Lord and accepting the word of the Lord from the prophets. And here they are beating him up and putting him in chains.
Like how they did Jesus.
Just like how they did Jesus.
Literally. And there was something else I was going to say where I'm trying to think if it'll come to me. But no, I do think it's just interesting that it's just like, I'm just, again, wondering, I asked this question earlier, but I'm like, they just so threatened that either their cover is going to be blown or like, you know what I'm saying? Like where it's just like, oh no, like we got to hush him up. We got to throw him and like put him in jail. And it's just like, man, like it's crazy that they are the ones that are doing this and beat him and now he is going to God. Oh, that's all I was going to say. Like a lot of what he's saying in a sense reminds me of Job.
Oh yeah.
Where you get to see like, just like his heart and his language behind like, man, like these people are out to get me. Yeah. So
and I love when you brought up that he's just like, I won't even do this job anymore. Like I quit. I'm trying to quit, but I can't quit.
And can't.
It's burning in my heart. And shut up in my bones. I said, shut up in my mouth. And he's like, I'm becoming tired of holding again. I cannot prevail. Like pretty much like, Lord, will you touch my mouth?
Yep. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. When you touched my mouth, that thing was for real.
For real. Like you really did light a fire in me, and it can't be quenched. And now I literally have, like you said, even when I want to give up, it's like, and I feel like I'm sure we can relate to this, where there has been times where, all right, Lord, I know you want me to do this or say this or pray for this person or like whatever the case may be, and it's like, no, I'm good.
I'm done.
I'm good. But then you just feel that like still that nudge, and it I think that is just, I love when God does that to me though, because I'm like, you won't even let me be comfortable or complacent with being disobedient.
Right.
And so let me go ahead and like, so the fire shut up in his bones. He said, I can't even. So no, this is good stuff.
Yeah, but even at the end of it, I do love how he still praises the Lord. Verse 13. Sing to the Lord, praise the Lord, for he rescues the life of the needy from evil people.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he goes back on to more lamenting.
But, doing that, Job. Curse the day I was born.
Exactly.
That was definitely Job.
Exactly. Why did I come out of the womb only to see struggle and sorrow to end my life in shame? Verse 18. Holy.
Yeah.
I understand though. His life seemed real rough. Like, and he by himself, like.
No, that's real.
He only got like a ride or die partner. Like.
Yeah. Still young too, right?
Like, and he started young.
Yeah. And
who knows how old he is now.
Right. And I'm out here having to say, thus said the Lord, some things that can get me killed for real.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, kudos to him for just still his desire to obey God.
Right.
Even when it doesn't feel good.
Right.
And even whenever the world is doing everything else. Like, yet he has to stand firm on what he know is true. And so, yeah, I'm excited to next week to pick back up into this book and to really just like, see how it all plays out. Again, this is my first time reading Jeremiah in the fullness of it. So I know that God has some other good nuggets that he wants to share and show us. And so, go ahead and take the next couple of days to either just catch up on the reading if you haven't already. It's never too late to jump in and to be a part of the plan. So we'll meet back up next week and we'll start up in Jeremiah 21. And so, we'll see you guys some later. And thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for joining us for the Vibes Daily Podcast. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or download our favorite, the Vibes Church app. Visit vibes.church/devoted for additional episodes, notes, details, and the latest merch. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the Bible. Take good care.